So this is Tesla full self-driving supervised software 12.3.5, which updated yesterday. So I'm at the hospital and going to drive over to Celebration, the town center area of Celebration, and let's see how it goes today. I drove a little bit yesterday without recording and didn't see any errors, had no disengagements. I'm not sure I noticed a major difference other than that it didn't do anything stupid. So far so good. It wasn't really clear exactly what changes were made between this version and 12.3.4, but each version seems to be improving, particularly since we got to version 12. If anybody knows what specifically changed between these versions, then leave it in the comments below to share with the others. Okay, so I'll go ahead and activate. So as we're in South Kissimmee and heading to Celebration, it looks like it's going to take me to a toll road, the Poinciana Parkway, to get me over in the vicinity of I-4 and get to Celebration via the interstate. So this lane is wide enough for two cars, but there's no stripe, and it actually terminates with a single right turn lane. So we kept to the center of that large lane until the stripe showed it was a single lane to the right, and the car moved over. So waited for the truck, and here we go. I've got the speed set to go 10% above the set speed limit, 5%, I don't remember. So the max speed right now is set at 47 while the speed limit's 45. It still looks like this version ignores speed limit signs that are not white text or actually black text on a white background. So construction zone speed limits and ramp speed limits are generally ignored. And I still believe that's a safety problem that they need to fix. And granted, it's not always clear the positioning of these signs. Sometimes a ramp speed limit appears before you're actually on the ramp, but usually will show an arrow or have the word ramp on the speed limit if it refers to the speed limit only in the ramp. Oh, some buzzards working on some carry-on, and the car braked for them when one jumped into the road. So that was interesting, that it could see a bird in the road and stop for it, or slow down anyway. Most people that have reviewed these later versions of full self-driving remark about how it seems to be more and more human-like in its behavior. What I've found, it's actually friendlier than humans, because it will definitely give up the fast lane if a car closes from behind, and then it'll move back over once the faster car is passed. Humans, at least in Florida, don't tend to do that very often. They'll hog that left lane until they die, no matter how many cars are waiting. So we got a yellow light, and we didn't come to a full stop since we were already about in the intersection. The speed limit now is 55, so it's going to slowly accelerate. And with the offset, the speed limit for the FSD is at 58. So speaking of the fast lane, we're in the fast lane, 58 miles an hour. I see a flashing blue light up ahead in the southbound, I guess that's actually the eastbound lane, the opposite lane. And after some well-publicized incidents with emergency vehicles, the Tesla is particularly sensitive to emergency lights and will limit the speed limit accordingly. These are encountered. So I picked up my phone to check a text, and the car almost immediately asked me to touch the steering wheel. So the in-cabin camera is certainly paying attention. going to adjust the maximum speed up a little bit to be more commensurate with the traffic. I'm about to be passed on the right since we're stuck in this left lane, so maybe he is behaving more like a human driver. There's a van slowly closing on us in the fast lane, so normally the Tesla will give up the fast lane in that case. I have the car set on chill mode because when it's in average mode or certainly in aggressive mode, it'll change lanes about every 10 seconds, it seems like, to gain whatever advantage it can in traffic, and that's just exhausting sometimes. Constantly be checking behind the FSD to verify that these lane changes are okay. So when it's in chill mode, it does minimal lane changes. At higher speed, the steering wheel nag occurs more often than at low speed. Sometimes driving through town, it'll go 15 miles without a steering wheel nag. While at highway speeds, it might ask for a nag every 2 or 3 minutes. A lot better than every 30 seconds it used to do in versions prior to version 12. There's such a publicity campaign by everybody in the internal combustion engine community, everybody from mechanics to dealers to some owners and people into politics, against Tesla. Tesla's very sensitive to the possibility of an accident, particularly one that might occur under the full self-driving software, even though the available data suggests there are far fewer accidents when FSD is in use than when it's not in use, far fewer accidents in Teslas than cars in general anyway. But the standard at which Tesla is held is apparently Tesla has to be perfect, and it doesn't matter if other cars have accidents at a 100-fold higher rate or even more. Of course, we're all for safety within reason. But especially before the idea of full self-driving is generally accepted, they need to be extra conservative at avoiding accidents. It might lead to regulatory problems, particularly with an unfriendly administration. I'm going to turn off the radar detector. We're not going to be doing any serious speeding today. Save my battery. There's another steering wheel nag. A little indecisive about changing that lane. So it's supposed to change the lane if you can gain a 5-mile-an-hour advantage. And we really only gained about 2 miles an hour by passing. So I guess the other car's speed was varying. So it took a few seconds to decide if it was really going to go around him or not. So even though that's not a safety issue, I would call that an error. We got merge arrows in the road telling us to get over to the right. So we merged over just in time. It wanted to make sure there was sufficient space in front of the car behind us. And that speed limit sign was painted on an orange sign, therefore it was totally ignored. And here's another speed limit sign that does not have an orange background, and it was followed. So the car just pulls in front of us, so we slow down just a little bit. I see on Twitter that they're already distributing 12.3.6, but don't have that one yet, but hopefully that'll come in the next several days or week. The release notes used to have a lot more detail about what changed between releases. may just be that they got more training data, especially with the free demo last month of the full self-driving that went out to all compatible Teslas. So Tesla's sitting on a huge amount of data from real-world experience with human drivers, as well as use of FSD in various environments. And presumably this data is fed into the neural network artificial intelligence engine in the Doho computer or supercomputer that they have at Tesla headquarters to improve the behavior in various situations. Nobody else has nearly that much real-world experience in their databases to train their self-driving software. So we have a 90-degree turn coming up ahead. Speed limit changed to 15 for the turn, but because the sign is orange, the Tesla ignores that speed limit. But it will slow down some just because of the condition of the turn. So it got as low as 21 miles an hour, but still violated the published speed limit since it ignores those orange signs. I've looked around, but I've not seen any good explanation for why those signs are ignored. Somebody said they thought those orange signs were advisory only and weren't really compulsory. I guess you can tell that to the judge if you get a ticket. So there's going to be an unprotected left turn up ahead onto this Osceola Polk Line Road, which usually has a fair amount of traffic, but usually with some gaps. And we terminate in a stop sign at the bottom of this slight hill. We got 4 cars waiting behind us because I wasn't speeding enough, I guess. So if necessary, I'll push the gas to get the car to go ahead and move if these people are getting too impatient. But let's see. Yeah, we're pulling on out, so we're good. So I did that about as well as you could be expected. So it looks like it's taking us on kind of an unusual route to get to Interstate 4, guided by the navigation, presumably based on traffic. Because if we just proceeded straight, there's an exit maybe a mile and a half or so ahead. And it claims it's making a right turn at this traffic light, but it's not in the right turn lane. And the right turn lane is full of cars now, so let's see what happens. Even if we go straight, that might actually be the better route, but the navigation is taking us to the right. Still no turn signal. Now the turn signal comes on maybe 150 feet from the intersection. We're still kind of in a construction zone. We're in the Reunion area of Central Florida. Nice looking golf course here. I've not played at this one. So the Golf Now app shows it as a private course, but it does show tee times available. So can the public come here or not? Not really clear to me, but Maybe I should make a phone call next time the golf mood hits. But unlike a lot of courses, at least it has a little bit of geographic variability. It's not completely flat like many Florida golf courses are. So, traffic's pretty backed up here. So it was actually accelerating, though I could see the traffic was stopped. And then late the car figured out what was going on and slowed down. So again, it was safe, but probably less than ideal, as this could have been a little bit better anticipated. Because the Tesla has better eyes than I do, at least more of them. So it should have seen the traffic wasn't moving from a distance and not been accelerating to get there. Somebody less trusting of the FSD than me might have disengaged seeing that behavior. But I had a pretty good idea it was going to eventually slow down, even if it was more forceful braking than most passengers would enjoy. This is a 2024 Model Y Performance that I traded my 2021 Model Y long range for about 6 weeks ago. The demo FSD has ended, yet I still have FSD, so it looks like that means the FSD finally transferred from the older car. When I look at upgrades on the app, it says I already have all the software updates, and says that the FSD capacity subscription expired 30 April. Today is May 1st. So that's good news. I paid $10,000 for the FSD. Since the subscription is only $99, I think almost everybody that wants FSD should just subscribe. And you can actually do it on a month-to-month basis, so you can turn it on when you have a trip planned and turn it off if you're not otherwise going to use it. But unless you had the car for quite a long time, the monthly subscription will cost you less than purchasing it outright. Particularly since it's possible that you won't be able to transfer in the future. They probably will allow transfer in the future, but this was a promotion I took advantage of. And as far as I know, that promotion has ended. So I wouldn't want to put $10,000 into it, hoping there was going to be a promotion when it was time to trade my car, when a subscription certainly can transfer. Elon Musk has hinted that the price is going to go up as the system becomes more capable. We'll have to see what the market will bear and how much demand there is for that. But certainly there's been a lot of progress between version 11 and version 12. Another curious thing is, right now the FSD is supervised, meaning the driver is certainly responsible for anything and everything that happens while FSD is in use. And Tesla essentially disclaims any liability since you're driving, whether assisted or not. If they ever do get to the point where it is non-supervised, how exactly is Tesla going to handle being liable for any injuries either to passengers or people outside the car while FSD is in use in the future going forward? And if you're the owner, even though you may not be required in the future to supervise the FSD, will you not have some responsibility as well? And how will that affect your insurance cost? If the data shows you're safer using FSD, should not FSD give you a discount in your premium? Particularly if Tesla is going to take responsibility for at least some of these accidents. This is kind of a strange little detour. But we could have just gone straight to I-4, so I don't know if there's an accident back there making the normal route a lot more difficult, or if the navigation system is just overthinking the whole thing, which sometimes happens. I have noticed, though, that if you're in bumper-to-bumper traffic on the interstate, that the FSD certainly takes a load off your mind with all the stop and go that goes on in that environment. The only disadvantage is the following distance of Tesla being safe encourages a lot of people to cut in front of you. But that's kind of a time waster for you and them both. It's when the traffic's not even moving, gaining a car length or two really doesn't make a lot of difference in the scheme of things. So when you get the steering wheel nag, you can either tug on the steering wheel like this, or you can just move the volume up and down. Just something to let them know that you're paying attention. So I just set the limit up to 40. So we're going to be merging on to Highway 429. Not real heavy traffic, but we'll see how it goes. We got 11 minutes till downtown Celebration. So we got to go through the one of these toll plazas. These are unmanned. And they do have sensors. So I've got the sticker up in the window so I don't have to stop or pay. Not bad. You're supposed to go through at 25 or less, which we certainly did. Lanes aren't marked here, but we got a big truck right behind us to the right. So we're kind of easing over to the left. We got to speed up a little bit here because he's a little impatient. And that's not commensurate with merging. It takes him longer to accelerate, so I can see why he might be frustrated us moving slowly. But there were no lines marking lanes coming out of that toll plaza, so I'd have to consider that an error that the car didn't go ahead and start speeding up to get to highway speed, particularly with a truck hanging right on our right edge. We're going to merge again onto Interstate 4 eastbound. It's not slowed down for the ramp. Speed limit still says 70. We're going 62, so I guess it slowed a little bit. We got a curve. But I didn't really see a speed limit sign on this ramp. Maybe there was one. 60 now. So I got my hand right close to the wheel just in case. They say don't get complacent. The better the FSD gets, the easier it is to forget we're still dealing with a computer that's undergoing testing and improvements. Fair amount of traffic on I-4, so we're going to have to find a way to get over. We better slow down because we're already faster than the traffic on the highway. So just got to find a spot. Could emerge back there. We're about to run out of ramp. So now what are you going to do? So the car behind us is slowing down. So we will just slide right in. So that wasn't too bad. What do you think? All's well that ends well. If that guy hadn't let us in, what was going to happen? I guess we'd have to stop. One time I had the car speed up to make a spot. When and it was running out of on-ramp. But our speed is still 35 due to traffic. The speed limit's 65 here. So we're going to be taking this exit to get into downtown Celebration. Previous versions would still be going over the faster lane even though we were almost at the exit. So that's improved. So it does a little bit better job of making sure we're in the correct lane to leave the highway. Disney World Celebration. So we're actually merging onto 417. There's another exit off of 417 into Celebration, a different part of Celebration. In case you didn't know, Celebration is a large Disney-created development that Disney no longer controls, but it was part of the original Walt Disney plan to have a residential community inside the theme parks. The theme park thing didn't work out, so they built it pretty much next to the theme parks. A lot of Disney influence still. Epcot was experimental, prototypical community of tomorrow, and that's basically what Celebration is. So Celebration has its own schools, has its own hospital, has office buildings, a town center with restaurants, shops, shopping, this and that. Walking trails, nature, lakes, houses that look like they're 100 years old when really they're only about 20 years old at this point. They transplanted fully grown trees to make the community look established. So there's another toll plaza here. We're really close to the Celebration Hospital because this highway runs right behind the hospital. This is the hospital I worked as the intensivist this weekend just passed, 7 to 7 on Saturday and Sunday. So that's about it for this test drive. Again, this was version 12.3.5. We'll probably do another one when the next version comes out. Hopefully there'll be more publication as to what improvements or changes have been made from the previous software update. If you like this sort of video, do a like, share the video, subscribe to the channel. This channel gives a variety of content, everything from technology and aviation to travel and fishing, a variety of things, history. There are many playlists to organize the various video themes. In any case, hope you enjoyed it and got some use out of it. Until next time, see you later.